Partnered by Times Influence.
Hello and welcome to BASF presents Future Perfect 3.0 in association with Times Now and ET Now. I'm Parumita Chatterjee. Now we've been focusing on how innovations and sustainability can go hand in hand, particularly when it comes to tackling the problem of urbanization. So this week we want to bring to you innovations which are sustainable and help you improve the quality of life in a city. He is the youngest speaker that we have. He's just 16 years old, and in fact he came up with this solution. He had a personal loss a few years ago. So let's find out a little bit more from Akash.
I'm Akash Manoj. I'm from Hosur, Tamil Nadu, and I'm a cardiovascular science researcher. I principally focus on preventive cardiology, and I work on asymptomatic heart attacks or silent heart attacks. I've made a device to detect silent heart attacks up to 6 hours in advance, and I did all of my research at the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. I'm very closely associated to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi, as far as the clinical validation and clinical trials are concerned. I'm a 12th grader and also, interestingly, a cardiovascular science researcher. Ever since I'd lost my grandfather to a silent heart attack when I was 13 or so, I'd started researching more about these asymptomatic heart attacks. I was shocked to find that these asymptomatic heart attacks, or silent heart attacks, account for nearly 50% of all heart attacks across the globe. 8 million people die from silent heart attacks every year. Now, these silent heart attacks are very unconventional. Unlike classic heart attacks, they do not indicate symptoms like chest pain before they actually occur. Symptoms are sometimes so mild that the patients may confuse them for a regular discomfort and not seek medical help at all. Consequently, they go undiagnosed. Often, patients with diabetes and other similar disorders suffer from nerve damages. These nerve damages make it very difficult for the heart to actually communicate to the body, saying that it is in danger and that it needs help. So these patients, these diabetic patients, are generally at risk of getting a heart attack that is silent. My grandfather too, being an at-risk patient, missed out on certain vital signs and symptoms being sent from his heart because of these nerve damages. After having researched for about 3 years now, I've been able to develop a non-invasive device that is inexpensive, portable, and wearable by these at-risk patients at all times. It needs no blood tests and works 24/7, collecting and analyzing data in preset intervals. And what is even more special is that it can detect the coming of heart attacks up to 6 hours in advance. So how does it work? Place the patch on your wrist, and what will happen next is something very interesting. The levels of a cardiac biomarker called HFABP are estimated using a novel transcutaneous spectroscopical method. The detection of this specific protein enables early detection as against the conventional biomarker troponin being detected in expensive troponin tests at hospitals today. A system like this could do away with the need for an at-risk patient to go to a doctor for a biomarker blood test, because the device could be worn at all times, sensing biomarker elevations in vivo. Thus, if the device senses the biomarker levels going beyond the critical point, the at-risk patient could be warned of an impending silent heart attack and that he or she needs immediate medical support. Every at-risk patient will now stand a chance to survive and take out sufficient time to reach out for medical help. When I got my device tested on at-risk patients under observation, results from the clinical validation tests certified close to 100% accuracy and sensitivity. I intend to make my device available to people in 2 variants, one which gives digital analysis of the biomarker levels, and a simpler version for the people in rural areas, which simply vibrates when the biomarker levels go beyond the critical point. When we look at our progress in cardiac healthcare today, it is more of sick care than preventive medicine and technology. We literally wait for the heart attack to occur and offer only post-care treatment. But by then, irreversible damage has already been done. I strongly believe that it's time we must rethink medicine. We must establish proactive healthcare technologies. A change must be brought out not 10 years from now, not 5 years from now, but today. When economists, data scientists, and medical professionals team up, the result is often a remarkable innovation. And that's what we exactly need to do, build a confluence. I think it is only then our future can become perfect as far as healthcare is concerned. Thank you so much. I'm open for questions right now.
Did I say he was nervous? No, I think I was talking about somebody else, because my God, you've blown me away. Are you just 16?
Yes, I'm 16. I'm giving my board exams next March.
Goodness. Okay, I think you're setting the bar really high. There you heard it from Akash. I'm sure we're milling with questions. Whoever is the fastest to the podium, yes. Okay.
Hi, Akash.
Hello.
And just wanted to ask, do you have done any clinical research, any check?
Yes, we have done clinical trials at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. We also did it in the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. I started it there in Bangalore, and then moved on to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where we performed clinical trials starting from animals to humans as well. So, and now the clinical trials are still going on, but the validation is done.
Okay, great.
So
big round of applause. Congratulations, Akash.
BASF is a company that invests a lot in research and development, and one area where we obviously research is in the whole area of human health, particularly from the perspective of food supplements and also ingredients that can make pharma products even better, formulation ingredients. I guess in the health area, the biggest impact is created by our vitamins. We are one of the largest manufacturers of vitamins, minerals, which are an essential nutrient, particularly in emerging countries. This is something that our diet does not fully provide. On the other hand, we are also increasingly becoming a capital for many of the lifestyle diseases, such as diabetes, blood pressure, and we also have products that are important for managing human heart health. To give you a specific example, omega-3 is a product that we supply, and of course most of the omega-3 globally comes from animal origin. We have innovated omega-3 that comes from algal source, and as you know, in India we have a large vegetarian population, and for them innovation like this would be a great way to provide them supplement that can enable them to have a better heart health.
On that note, let's take a quick break. You're watching BASF presents Future Perfect 3.0 in association with Times Now and ET Now. Welcome back to BASF presents Future Perfect 3.0 in association with Times Now and ET Now, a show which focuses on the chemistry which comes into play for sustainable innovations for quality of life in the city. Okay, our next speaker is somebody who's actually designed this wonderful building which has so much of natural light and very interesting layouts. I haven't seen an auditorium scale to this size like this. And indeed, he is an architect by profession, but he has many sides to him, as I learned during my brief interaction. Let's welcome on board our next speaker for this evening, Mr. Narasimhan.
My name is Naresh Narasimhan. I'm an architect. I work with a firm in Bangalore, headquartered in Bangalore, called Venkatraman & Associates. It's a 50-year-old firm, and we are active in about 26 locations in India and 3 outside. One of the big interests of my life these years have been that the quality of Indian cities It's not improving at all. So the quality of our buildings are getting better and better. So my focus here today will be to talk about how do you make cities smarter? What does it take to make our outdoors as good as our indoors? 4 years ago, when the new government took over, we got a new word in our dictionary. We knew it was always there, but everybody started saying smart cities. But 4 years later, nothing much doesn't seem to have changed, right? Less than 10% of the budget allocated for the smart city development has been spent, mostly in fairly basic stuff, right? So I started asking myself, why is that? Are we incapable of thinking, or have we used the wrong adjective? Should we have said intelligent cities or inclusive cities? What should we have done instead to make it happen? And then I found out that nobody's actually bothered to define what is a smart city, right? So I started saying that how do you go from a manifesto to a manifestation? The curious fact here is that from a population of about 350 to 400 million people in cities, we will go to 700 million in 12 years from now. Cities are not new to India. You know, Varanasi is the oldest unfortified city in the world because everybody had a pact, including invaders from outside, that it would never attack Varanasi. Right? It has no fort walls at all, and it has no defense. But it has been around for so long, and we think city design, and whenever our politicians talk, they say, let's make our city like Singapore, or let's make it like Shanghai. Nobody ever says, let's make it like the Bombay that was there 50 years ago, like the Bangalore that was there in 1990s. They always have a fast-forward mentality. What I really think in India is required is a fast-forward mentality. We have to learn from our own mistakes and our own successes and build a future which is cleverer and not depend upon somebody else's story. It is estimated today that there are more smartphones in India than toilets, right? Which I think the Prime Minister is desperately trying to correct, but it will take some more time till we get enough toilets in this country. Right? So let's ask the question again. What is smart? Right? Smart cities have identity. Right? When you think of Paris, you think of the Eiffel Tower. When you think of Bombay, you think of the Gateway of India. When you think of Jodhpur, there is a common pact among everybody to paint the city blue. You know, it's like Jaipur is pink, but Jodhpur is blue. And you can see what happens when it creates a sense of pride in the city. Right? Smart is planned. Planning has become obsolete in India because it's a static model that we are using. We need a dynamic planning model which changes every 2-3 years or very soon. This is the best airport in Bangalore, in India. I'm from Bangalore, so I'm biased. If you come in on an international flight, right, you will be in your car in 15 minutes, including luggage in your hand and through customs. And that's the problem is in everywhere else, all airports, the shops are in the way. In Bangalore, the shops are on the way. And just that little preposition makes for an efficient airport. That's all. That's the key insight. Shops are on your way. And you don't waste time going through some endless corridors to reach your plane. Right? Governance. We haven't learned how to look after our cities. This is Bangalore, the larger Bangalore region. And you can see that there are some 15 agencies fiddling with it. And they're all government agencies. And nobody talks to each other. So we need a huge revamp of something and the implementation of something called the 74th Amendment to the Indian Constitution, which empowers people to be part of planning processes. More and more citizen activism is required to tell our leaders what to do. We have to make spaces in our cities for culture. We have our culture, whether it's religious culture or social culture. Cities must be designed it must not come to a screeching halt if there is a procession. And this is the site we don't want to see. It's called the wrong side of the railway tracks. This is Bombay, very close to you. And see the contrast between people living in the bottom and people, there's a railway track in the middle, and see what happens behind it. We cannot allow this kind of, what would I call, there will be blood on the streets if we do not address this social problem quickly. We have to find decent homes for everyone. Sustainable. This is a word which is used again and again. What does it really mean? Sustainable has to reach the root, the common man. It is still floating around in high level, a building like this is highly sustainable. But I'm not so sure that, we have to make sure that it goes, the benefits of sustainability also should go to everyone. It's social. This is the riverfront in Ahmedabad after the renovation. Look at the, you have to go to, we can't just keep going to malls and multiplexes and bars to meet people. We should have public places in India where we can just go and hang out without buying anything and watching other people, which is the most fun thing to do. Safe for women and children and old people. Somebody said a city should be designed so that between 8 and 80, it's called 8 to 80, because 8 years old is when you are allowed to go out for the first time on your own, and 80 years is the last time you're allowed to go on your own, right? You need a chaperone, right? So in between, the city must be safe to be able to do that. And finally, of course, smart is happy. So my point is that we need an Indian approach to problem solving. We do not want to go on listening to what somebody else has done. We don't want best practice. I'm bored of that word best. We need something called a next practice, in the words of C.K. Prahalad, right? So the India, in our Indian thought, all of you know this word Panchatattva, Panchabhuta. The world is made of 5 elements, right? The air, water, etc. So can we use this to reimagine our cities? We have the brains, we have the intelligence, we have the history, we have the tradition. What we don't seem to have is political will. And that is the job of all of us, to go and talk to our leaders, because mass leaders only listen to masses. They don't listen to anybody else. So if we combine Panchabhuta with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, the Paris Climate Change Accord, of which we are a signatory, and look at the resources of India, we have very good data on India. Unfortunately, it sits in silos. I had to really look at 5 data sources for this. We know where the water is, we know where everything is. We have the Golden Quadrilateral, we have some projects which have started. I think it's time to use the definition, expand the definition of smart. And Germany, after the war, actually created a building exhibition called the International Bauausstellung, which reconstructed Germany by using innovative planning techniques. An organization like this is required for India. Everything is possible in India if the people get involved, and I would urge all of you to go out and at least become a member of your local resident welfare association and make a change. As much as I run an architectural practice, but I still spend 30% of my time doing only this, pushing for better places to live in. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please don't leave us. It's rare that one gets a chance to really talk about the basics of life. We sort of forget, as you said, in some of our high-flying ventures that we are involved in. I'm sure we have questions. Do we have questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Naresh, for your wonderful vision of smart city, which I believe is very different from what the government has been kind of touting to all of us. I mean, even my thought around that was that the focus was around how data is collected and how it is used more efficiently. Have you been talking to the government about this to try and?
Quite a bit, yeah.
So.
Mostly to local government.
Okay.
See, the danger with this data-centric approach, I was just telling one of our friends today, if you have too much data, then you don't need democracy. It will become China. So there's a danger in collecting too much data too, because we have to find a way that we have to change governance models. The root of the problem really is that we still think we are a country of villages. We still do not have an understanding of urban governance structures, where something like a city like Bombay would have 30 or 40 agencies messing with the city and not talking to each other. So we need a slightly different, we need a restructuring of how cities are managed and done. And we have been able to achieve something in Bangalore. I'm not able to, and I have been talking to the central government also to try and see whether something is happening. But what is really stemming my efforts is the entrenched bureaucracy. And the bureaucracy is extraordinarily resistant to change in India.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Naresh.
I think when urbanization takes place at such rapid speed, the key challenge is the quality of life for people in the urban areas. In addition to that, all the associated challenge of resources, whether it is clean water, availability of energy, mobility, all of them become a challenge and get compounded. So it is in this context that many of BASF's solutions become very important to improve and make urban living much more sustainable. To give you some very quick examples or very simple examples, one big challenge that urban cities face is waste management, particularly wet waste management, which is actually a valuable resource and could potentially create circular economy. Now, BASF has a compostable plastic bag which can be used at source segregation in order to collect the wet waste and then take into composting pit, which can then convert it into good valuable resource for agriculture. That is one example. We have technologies which can be used in pavements which will increase water permeation and thereby recharge the groundwater. And of course, we are doing substantial research in e-mobility, which will enable mobility in a more sustainable manner.
Development and degradation of the planet needn't necessarily go hand in hand. The key lies in reusing the right technology to ensure sustainable development. So we'll be back with more knowledge sessions on all that and more, but that's coming up next week. Until then, thanks for watching.
Partnered by Times Influence.